Welcome to Thursday, May 13th on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller, thanks for joining us. We have a very specific and anticipated event in the sky today, so let's jump right straight into it. At 5:33 p.m. today, Jupiter moves into Pisces after having sprinted through Aquarius since the beginning of the year. Now, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. So before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter was the sign ruler. And basically how they assigned that, or how they prescribed that, or figured that out, was pretty much comparing planetary alignments with the characteristics that a particular sign represented. Now, typically Jupiter takes a year to move through a sign, but that's always interrupted by a retrograde. So this year, Jupiter moved into Aquarius, moved through really fast, is going to stick its toe into Pisces until the end of July. Then it will go back into Aquarius, where it will stay until the end of the year. So it's kind of one of these dance things, but when it moves into Pisces, it's going to show us a little bit of what Jupiter in Pisces might look like. Now, this is very interesting because we talked about, I think last week, that Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. I know people would debate this, but to me, Neptune fits Pisces better than Jupiter does. That's just me. I know there are a lot of people that say, oh no, Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. But Neptune is also a really good fit. So Neptune is already in Pisces. And get this, today, it already happened. It was at 1:45 this morning Eastern Time. The sun sextiled Neptune. How about that? That Taurus sun was 60 degrees away from Neptune. Wow. That's almost like this is coming in on greased skids, if you will. But it's also coming on the heels of this very tense week that we've been having that we talked about yesterday and the day before. This new moon, which typically the new moon is the moon you create on, and the full moon is the one where you basically hold your breath and you hope that, all the weird stuff doesn't happen too bad. But the full moon is the one, obviously, where stuff happens. But boy, has stuff ever been happening this week, and on top of the moon wobble that began on Monday. So isn't it interesting that Jupiter, the great benefic planet, comes home tonight, this evening, where it meets, if you will, a sun-bathed Neptune. So I've been thinking about where these challenges have been emanating from and how this Jupiter ingress into Pisces might affect things. People asking from the financial perspective, well, Jupiter is a benefic in the financial world. You want a favorable Jupiter aspect. Jupiter moving home should be a positive sign. Stock market's been grumpy this week, really grumpy. Somebody was asking me thoughts about Jupiter in Pisces, particularly related to cryptocurrency, and I said, well, it should be expansive. I mean, by the cookbook, it should be expansive. Just watch the trend so that you know what side is going to expand, right? If we are in an uptrend, it should be expansive. If we get into a downtrend, it might be expansive. That sun sextiling Neptune today is a very positive thing, tuning into your own intuition. Watch out for those psychic moments. You might have one today. You might get clarity, especially with Jupiter just sitting right on the border, heralding, hey, I'm coming home. It's the kind of day that if you get a prompt today, follow it. If you get a synchronicity, lean into it. Sign from above, go for it. But the other thing Jupiter can do, and people don't give Jupiter enough credit for this, is expand the shadow. So, what could expand during this time? Lies and cover-ups. Are we possibly seeing this through this pipeline situation? Point to ask. It's a question that is valid to ask. Is there more to the story? That could be the shadow side of Jupiter sitting at 29 degrees, ready to move into Pisces. I'm going to pull a trick on you. Are there other veils that for the next over 2.5 months might be a little more cloudy, foggy? One thing I've heard is watch driving and drinking during this time. And it's going to be there for all of next year, too, because addictions or expansions around problems with addictive substances could be something that could come into the space. Another opposite, we're kind of doing the opposites from the shadowy perspective because I just want to make sure to address them, to say that don't let somebody fool you to say that this is a rose garden. Life is life, and it has its paradoxes. So it could be that clarity gets a little bit disrupted, and the flip side of that is you could get mega clarity, hyper clarity, crystal clear clarity. People are wondering about the virus with Pluto in retrograde and Jupiter moving into that Neptunian Piscean realm of medicine, drugs, biotech. This would be the realm of the vaccination. Certainly something to keep an eye on because things might change. So we're going to start seeing some characteristics as we've had for the first part of this year, Jupiter's effect on large groups of people, technology. I could think of several examples there. And now, as it's just getting ready to go into Pisces, we have this conflict and this tension going on. So I think we have to just watch and wait and feel this out and look for these opportunities. Back to the financial piece for a second. There's this guy that I've been following. He used to be a trader in Chicago on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange floor. And he got into astrology, and he uses now astrology in all of his work. But he describes that astrology in the financial markets is about changes of direction. So in other words, if the market is moving up and one of the aspects that he identifies hits, look for a change of direction. So you have to know what direction is it going in before the aspect, then you looking at it going in a different direction. So what we're dealing with here is we are basically up against a direction change. And I think where we see it starting to tilt is what we'll see that might set the stage for the next almost 90 days. All right, there's your take on Jupiter moving into Pisces, at least from this perspective. There are others, and you can research those up as well. All right, have a great day. We'll see you back again tomorrow. I think it's TGI Friday, is it not tomorrow? And we will experience our very first full day of Jupiter in Pisces for about the last dozen or 13 years. It'll be fun. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.